We're taking a look at two cranes from Conrad models. Model 2116 is the Terex Challenger 3160, and Model 211601 is the Demag AC55. Both these machines are effectively the same crane, but in different corporate branding. Terex is the older branding for cranes in the Terex group, but from the Balmer exhibition in 2016 that's being phased out and replaced with the good old Demag name. Demag was the original crane making company, which was then taken over and became part of the Terex group. Let's open up the Demag box, and it's a sleeve which covers a pair of trays, and there's an instruction sheet which covers the counterweight mechanism. But this sheet was not included with the Terex version of the model. So let's go on and lift the lid of the expanded polystyrene trays, and then we can see the model packed securely inside. There's some assembly to do to get the crane in road-going formation, and to start with we need to separate the plastic mirrors, some of which are silvered and some of which are not. We'll begin at the front by attaching the first of the door mirrors, and that just presses in easily. And then we've got another mirror that goes over a cab door, and that was slightly more difficult to get in because of the thickness of the plastic. We will quickly add on the other door mirror, and then there's one more mirror that goes over the front of the windscreen. But we're not all mirrored up even yet, because there's one more to fit, and that goes on the side of the crane body. This one provides a view for the crane driver when he's in the cab. Moving on, there's one piece of counterweight to add, and we'll put that on the carrier deck. And the last thing we need to do is to reeve up the hook. So we'll start that by taking some rope off the drum, and then we'll pull the end forwards towards the tip of the boom. As if by magic, here is the hook reeved, and we've added a small tying off loop. Both models are the same except for the paintwork, so we'll start with the Terex, and it's very simple underneath with no transmission detailing at all. The wheels are typical Conrad with nice quality tyres, and the carrier cab looks good with its nice lights. Behind the cab there's extensive diamond plated surfacing, and the exhaust pipe has a hole. The Terex decoration is fairly plain, but there are some very small graphics. And the crane cab is reasonable with plastic grab rails, but there are no mirrors. The crane body has got the slewing motor modelled, and there are beacon lights at the rear. The boom is fairly simple with one small spooling drum modelled. Metal pulleys are used in the boom head and hook. The Demag version of the crane is the same, but the Demag colour scheme is certainly much more interesting. And it's all round a much more attractive looking model. Terex incoming. And these models certainly roll well on the Cranes etc. test track, and they're helped by their heavy weight. Each of the axles can be independently steered, so you can get a very good turning circle. And we can also set the steering to produce that weird crab-like movement. We've arrived on site with the Demag AC55, so let's set it up. The single stage plastic outriggers pull out and you wind down the pads. The screw threads are visible, but the model will stand wheels free. And on the review model at least the beams are nice and straight. It's up and away with a boom which is nice and stiff between the fingers. And the hydraulic ram's got enough friction so it won't droop down. We now need to rotate the crane so it can pick up the piece of counterweight that's stored on the carrier deck. And the scaling's good because the crane's able to pass fully over the top of it. But there's more, because this model has a very nice feature for attaching the counterweight. And then you push down on the two spring-loaded clips at the top. And that replicates the hydraulic mechanism of the real crane, and it attaches the counterweight. So this is a very nicely implemented feature by Conrad. But I hear you shouting, what happens when you want to disconnect the counterweight? Well, firstly I'd say stop shouting and calm down, because the mechanism works in reverse as well. Push down on the two spring-loaded clips and then rotate the body a bit, and the job's done. Another feature of the model is the tilting cab, and it holds the tilted position reasonably well. The real crane features a long telescopic boom, and this one works in the normal way, although some of the sections on the review models were stiffer than usual. The models featured a normal spring-loaded clip at maximum extension on each section, And to retract the boom you need to push the clip in with your finger, and then you can close up the telescopic section. For anyone who wants to play at being a crane driver, you can operate the winch, but it's painfully slow because you have to turn it like this, so just make sure you've got an hour available if you want to lift a load. The hook block has got 2 pulleys in it, so that means the reeving options are limited to 4 falls of rope, and of course that means winding up the hook is even slower. With the boom extended to its maximum, let's carry out a dim check. And with the real boom being 50 meters long, we should expect to see 100 centimeters, and the model is only slightly short of that. As you would expect from Conrad, these models are strong and robust, and the Terex version of the model is unlikely to be produced again after its initial run. Going forward, it's the Demag branding that will be used, and it looks good. These are not the most detailed models, but the functionality is nice, and overall, they're very good.